actually one more speaker this evening. She's someone who knows a thing or two about hard work. Before beginning her incredible career in public service, she spent a summer working her way across Alaska, washing dishes, and even working in salmon canning factories. The hard work and determination she's demonstrated from her earliest days have come to define her groundbreaking career. She has worked as a talented lawyer. She quickly earned the respect of all of us on Capitol Hill during her time as senator from New York. And she served as one of the most effective secretaries of state in our nation's history has ever seen. A grandmother now. And as you may have heard, it's also her birthday this Sunday. So please join me in extending a very warm Maine welcome to an amazing leader, inspirational leader, my friend Hillary Clinton.
On a Friday night, 11 days before this consequential election. I wanted to come to lend my support to his campaign because I believe he would be the kind of governor that the people of Maine deserve to have. Karen Mills, who was out here earlier, for her introduction. She and I served together in the cabinet in the first term. She was a fabulous head of the Small Business Administration and understands that small business is the real core of the economy of our country. I'm delighted to be here with my friend and your Congresswoman, Chellie Pingree, who was out here earlier. There she is. I have so enjoyed working with Chellie in the past and seeing how effective she has been in the Congress, and I know you're going to re-elect and send her back to Washington. You're also going to be sending State Senator Cain to Washington. Emily reminded me that she actually introduced me back in 2008, and I'm thrilled that she might soon be representing the hard-working families of Maine's 2nd Congressional District. You know, this election is like so many around the country, raising to me a lot of important issues about how we're going to work together, how we're going to get things done, how we're going to solve problems. And I really believe that when you boil it all down, the election comes down to a simple question. Who's on your side? Who's going to work hard for you? Who's going to get up every single day worrying about your job, your family's education, your health care, your environment, your future? Who has the values and the experience to fight for you every single day? To work together to help create good, high-paying jobs, and to make sure that Maine's economy works for everyone, not just a privileged few. Who will go to Augusta and make it absolutely clear that the governor is the servant of the people. But I think there's really only one answer. And that's why I like Mike. At a time when too many Mainers are still struggling to find work, you deserve a governor who is totally focused like a laser on creating jobs and keeping jobs in this great state. When working people haven't gotten a raise in a decade and it feels harder and harder to get ahead, let alone save for college or pay the debts from going to college, or make sure you have a secure retirement, you deserve a governor who knows what it's like to punch a time clock and will fight for everyone to have the same shot at the American dream that he has been able to have. Are more divisive than ever, when government seems hopelessly gridlocked, Maine deserves a governor you can respect. Someone who has proven he knows how to bring people together, not divide them, and get the job done for you. I think Maine needs a fresh start. And Mike has the grit and the vision to deliver that. Now, I've had the privilege of serving in the Congress with Mike. He and I worked together on trying to figure out how to bring manufacturing back, how to make sure people had the dignity of work. And he was so intensely passionate about helping the people he represented. There was never a meeting that anybody had about the economy, about jobs, about manufacturing, that he didn't come with a sense of urgency. He was driven by his experience and by his values. And to me, those values are the ones that generations of Maine families have believed in. They're the ones I grew up with. They're the ones that have motivated me, along with Mike. We may have had very different experiences in different parts of our country, but our families taught us that the only direction was forward. Never quit, never lose faith. When you get knocked down, get right back up. There is worth and dignity in every human being, and that everyone deserves not just a chance, but a second chance, and even a third chance at a better life for themselves and their families. And when I remember going driving up to northern Maine with former Governor Baldacci, who was here with his family and eating a lot of spaghetti along the way, I remember meeting with people who were looking for that second or third chance. You know, I'm the granddaughter of a lace mill worker from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Started in the mills at the age of 11, and in those days, he was able to stay there until he retired at 65. He worked hard to give his sons a better chance, mostly based on education, and they moved up the ladder. My father was a small businessman, and when I say small, I mean small. Basically, it was my brothers, my mother, and me, and an occasional day laborer who worked in his printing plant. But he never doubted, because his father, an immigrant, never doubted, that if you worked hard, you did what you were supposed to do, you could keep moving. You could get into that middle class. You could make sure your children had a better life. You could live in a community that was constantly reinventing itself and making it possible for more and more young people to have the opportunities they deserve. That's kind of shorthand what we call the American dream. Mike gets that in his bones. Being a Mainer isn't a label, it's a way of life. From the farmers of the valley to the lobstermen of the coast, generation of generation has believed we're all in this together and we can all go forward if we do our part, if we make our efforts to the best of our ability. You know, when Mike was growing up in Medway, he knew that he'd have to work hard. He understood that the Great Northern Paper Mill was a way of life, an opportunity to make a living. He went to work right out of high school, following in the footsteps of his father and grandfather. He got tired of watching that great river that powered that plant get more and more polluted. You know, on the way in and out of work, he'd take a look and say, hey, that's not right. We're kind of undermining our whole way of life here. And it was the start of a lifelong pattern. He saw a mess and decided to roll up his sleeves and clean it up. So he ran for the state legislature, you know, a mill worker. A paper mill worker, ran for the state legislature, and he won. And then he wasted no time getting to work cleaning up the river, and he did it the way he has done everything in his public life, bringing people together around common sense solutions. You don't need a lot of yelling. You don't need to be insulting people. You need to bring them together and listen to each other. Mike's way. And he never walked away from that mill, unlike some people who take a step up in life. He never forgot where he came from, and he never forgot his friends and his co-workers. He just changed his shifts, went in on weekends, and kept working for 29 years. Became so respected that eventually he was elected president of the state senate, and he continued to keep cleaning up messes. When he led the state senate, and this is a really big point, when he led the state senate, it was evenly divided between Republicans and Democrats. Where others saw a recipe for paralysis, Mike saw possibility. He never stopped working to bring the parties together, and he led by example, always listening and learning. Thanks to that quiet but strong leadership, those divided senators managed to balance the budget, cut taxes for small businesses, and increase the minimum wage for Maine's workers. Comes out and tells you what they will do. It's always important to ask, what have you already done? What have you accomplished for people like me? How can I tell if you're on my side? And when Mike went to Congress, he found his biggest mess yet. So he put his head down and he got to work. He became one of the most respected and passionate voices on behalf of our nation's veterans, working with Republicans on the House Veterans Affairs Committee to improve access and quality of health care for the men and women who have served our country. And he played a key role, even in the middle of this hard-fought campaign. He played a key role in passing the recent VA reform bill. Keep jobs in Maine. He helped create the Northern Border Regional Commission to spur economic development in the more rural areas of the state, and he continued trying to clean up rivers and protect the environment. That's a lot for one life of public service. But now Mike's running for governor because you've got another mess on your hands. Country on behalf of Democrats, and I can see where the economic recovery has taken hold and where there's still a lot of work to do. The Great Recession hit this state hard, and a lack of leadership in your governor's office has slowed the economic recovery of Maine. Still aren't enough jobs. Great Northern paper, where Mike worked all those years, just filed for bankruptcy. A lot of families are in trouble. Money's just not coming in the way it used to. But bills keep piling up. It used to be that if productivity went up, so did wages. If people worked hard, they could actually see it in their paychecks and feel it in their wallets. That's not true anymore. Today, if you actually look at these statistics, Maine families are working harder than ever, but maintaining a middle-class life can feel like pushing a big boulder uphill every single day. Buying a home, saving for college or secure retirement, caring for a sick relative. We don't expect things to come easy, but it should not be this hard. And instead of leadership in Augusta, you've seen gridlock and grandstanding. You've seen what happens when a politician operates in what I call an evidence-free zone. Now, I think I'm preaching to the choir here. I think you're here because you know that. I think you understand that even when your legislature came together with a strong bipartisan majority to try to extend Medicaid to Mainers who needed it, your governor said no, over and over again. No to Medicaid, no to healthier families, no to lower costs. 5 times your legislature tried, and 5 times he vetoed it. That's the price tag of our broken politics. That's a down payment on decline. It doesn't have to be this way. You can veto the governor by voting. looks like to me. You got 3 people running. Right? Whoever gets the most votes wins. You just got to make sure Mike gets the most votes. For the next 11 days. You don't want to wake up the day after and think of what you coulda, shoulda, woulda done. If only you had done more. You need to talk to everybody. Everybody in your family. Even, you know, that curmudgeonly uncle who loves to complain about politics and politicians. You got to tell him. You need to go out and vote for the best hope we've got to move Maine into the future. And if you don't vote, then we're not listening to you complain. And